Hey guys, I hope you all are doing well wherever you are in this world. Some are very near and some are very far, and I hope you're doing well. And so I wanted to kind of put together this video as a little kind of culmination or the kind of the end of the year, just a little farewell for now. And so what I wanted to do is just kind of talk and reflect about the year and you know, from my standpoint, and also talk about a few other things. So I went back and I found a vision statement that I wrote for the Engineering COE, and as you all know, this is my first year being the director of this wonderful program, and so I kind of had some big shoes to fill. And first off, I just want to say that you know, it's hard for me to kind of put this into words of how cool this job is. I mean, it's truly a wonderful, wonderful opportunity that I absolutely love, and I love coming to work, and I love working with you guys on you know, teaching you engineering. You know, basics and engineering advanced topics, and work with you with your projects, and like, I can't think of a better job. And so I wanted to start off by saying that really it's hard for me to kind of put into words, but you know, and I heard a lot of people say, oh well, you know, when bad things would happen or things that weren't exactly great, they'd be like, oh well, welcome to Shattuck St. Mary's, and really, you know, we'd kind of chuckle about that, but Shattuck St. Mary's is a great place, and I absolutely love coming to work every day. And you know, I'm really, really bummed out that the year didn't end with us being face to face, and you know, we didn't get to do the kind of things that I wanted to do. You know, exactly. I mean, it was kind of a modified version, but you know, it really saddens me that, you know, I don't get to give you a farewell in person. And so, but it is what it is, and you know, you guys are used to hearing me say this. It's the cards that we got dealt, and so here we are. And so again, it's not a farewell forever. I'm very much hope, and it's just a farewell until next academic school year for some of you, and then for those seniors that are moving on, you know, it's a farewell that you know, can always be rejuvenated by staying in contact, and I really truly hope that you do stay in contact. And so back to the vision statement. So at the beginning of the year, I really didn't know what all the details of a engineering COE director would do. And so what I tried to do is create kind of what are the goals and what are the objectives for the program. And so I wrote down 5 main objectives, things that I want to incorporate, I want students to be able to do, I want to expose students to such and such. So what I want to do is I want to go through those 5 objectives with you and just kind of wrap up the year that way. And so the first objective that I thought was very, very important, one of the most important things, is to expose and introduce students to a wide variety of disciplines within the engineering field through curriculum that is based on first and second year college engineering courses. And so for those students who are in the first year program, that comes next for you. But I think a lot of you were challenged by this, and you know, getting to learn things or being required to learn things that are kind of outside of your line of thinking, things that you didn't even really know exist. And a lot of you, I don't think you envisioned yourself playing with soil and doing experiments and things like that. And you know, it's good to be able to do those things. It's good to be able to get outside of your comfort zone a little bit and learn things that you wouldn't necessarily think. And my hope is that it's broadened your horizons, and it's made you look at the world from an engineering standpoint in a different way. And I hope that you're able to kind of see engineering in the world And so there's so many branches and there are so many fields that it's very difficult to be able to grasp it all. And especially if you're trying to become a young engineer and you want to decide which program that you want to go into, that's a really, really daunting task. So my intent was not to convert you all to all civil engineers and make you all become geotechnical engineers like I pursued. But my goal and objective was to be able to expand and broaden your horizon, and things that you wouldn't even have thought needed engineering, it does. And so that is so important. And I hope that we've learned some engineering basics, like the fundamentals of what engineering is all about and the steps to engineer something. And now I hope that you can look through that lens and see engineering in everything that you do. And so all the products, I'm going to talk about this in a little bit, but think about all the engineering that had to go into that, and the thought, and constraints and budgets and all of that stuff. I hope it's giving you a little bit broader perspective. Okay. So number 2 was give students an opportunity to design and build a machine or a device that performs a task or demonstrates an academic concept. So this relates to your projects. And one of the big things this year was that projects were required for everybody, and it was a standard, which I'm not entirely sure how that was enforced in times before, but I feel that it's very important. And this is the actual the task that makes you learn the engineering design process, and it's such an important thing. And then I hope that through your project you have gained some understanding about how people go about engineering things and engineering products. Okay, because think about it, we live in a world of materials and everything. I look around the shop and there are just so many things that everything that I look at was designed for a purpose, and it was thought out. And so through use of your project, I really hope that you guys kind of learned some of the basics of engineering design. And so you're not going to be an expert in one time, in 1 year, in one project. It takes many, many projects to really get a firm understanding and a firm grasp on this engineering design process. So if you struggled with it, you're not alone. And just make sure that you keep at it. I'm still going at it. Okay, there's still a lot of things that I'll do projects and they don't turn out the way that I want it to. And so, what you have to do is go back and reflect and redesign and rethink and reiterate. And so, vision number 3, give students opportunities to collaborate on design build projects and equip them with skills to write technically and present their projects to audiences. So this vision kind of came to life through our project presentations, but even in our classes, I was asking you to write for certain things. And so, one assignment that's coming to mind is, the executive summary for when you do a sieve analysis test. And so when we did that, I didn't have you write up the full report. I had you write an executive summary. So, and that's a skill, and that's a skill that you have to learn, and it's a skill that I had to learn. And so, just being able to write your results technically and inform your audience, whoever it might be, either a client or a teacher or whatnot, is a really important skill to have. So, I know we didn't get a ton of opportunities to write technically, but hopefully we will in the future. And so, but having that opportunity to present your project, just reading through some of the reflections for the COE, I thought a lot of people thought that was a very relevant, it helped them a lot to process their projects and be able to kind of communicate technical information to people who aren't necessarily savvy with all that information. So I think that was a good opportunity. Number 4 says expose students to case studies in various engineering disciplines that will begin to give them a broader perspective of engineering ethics. I think this definitely applies more to the second, third, or fourth year students. And we did look at a lot of case studies, and I had you research a lot of case studies. So, and that's kind of like the beginning of each course, was to look at some sort of a case study and analyze it as to what happened, what went wrong, what were the decisions that were made, and how did we go about making amends or cleaning up, or that there's a lot of engineering that goes on, not just in the projects, but if something doesn't go exactly the way that it's supposed to, you have to engineer a solution to fix it. And so I think that we definitely covered that vision of mine. And so for the first year students, that'll apply more when you get to the next year classes. Okay, and so the fifth one is expose students to the roles of working engineers and the purpose and importance of professional engineering societies. And so we didn't really hit on the last one, the importance of engineering societies. Like each disciplinary field of engineering has its own specific niche of people that get together and discuss topics within their field. So, like for example, ASCE, which is American Society of Civil Engineers. There's ASME, American Society of Mechanical Engineers, and there's one for electrical. There's one for computer. There's all these societies. We didn't really go into that too much, and unfortunately, we didn't really get to I don't feel like we didn't get to really feel that the role of the working engineer as much as I would have liked. And like I told some of you, it really, some of the opportunities just got cut short because we had to leave school. And so, I had opportunities lined up to go tour some lab facilities and meet with some engineers, and it really just didn't happen because we weren't together. And so it's really unfortunate. But next year, one of my top priorities is to really make sure that we get you out there and get you exposed to different engineering professionals and see what they do on a day-to-day basis. So that's really important to me. And so that's a big priority. So kind of wrapping up the visions and kind of thinking back and reflecting how the year went, I'm pretty happy with the way that things went as a whole. I think there are areas to improve in, and me, when things need iterating, I have no hesitation to iterate. And one of the things is, the structure of the courses, and we kind of talked about how I envisioned the courses to be, and so environmental engineering was kind of one of the first trials of that structure. And of course we didn't reach, I feel like we didn't even reach like half of kind of what I had in mind for it, but it was a good trial. And so we'll kind of continue with some of those ideas, and I think it's just gonna be so much easier if we can be together and doing this, and we can move at a faster pace, and I think it'll just be much better. And so I'm ultimately pretty happy with the way that things turned out, and I've had a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful year. I cannot tell you, I've never enjoyed a job so much. I can honestly tell you that. And so I hope you enjoyed your time in the Engineering COE. I hope that, through all of the chaos and iterations that you learned something about engineering. You broadened your perspective on engineering, and I just hope that it's enriched you in some way, shape or form. And so kind of leave you with what I always am kind of harping you guys on is, when we get back from breaks, I always say, okay, what did you design? What did you create? What did you make? And, I really want to instill that, because that is a really key thing to being an engineer, is being some sort of a tinker, some sort of a person who likes to get into projects and figure things out and understand how they work or make them better. I think that's kind of an important trait for most engineers. I wouldn't say all of them, but for most of them. And so one of my big projects this year, or this summer, that I'm going to take on, of many, which we'll see how it goes, you know, see if I get to all my projects. I don't think I will. And so one of them is going to be making a guitar amplifier for a friend of mine who lives in Virginia. And so I've gotten started. I'll go grab something real quick. So I kind of got started with the amplifier. This is basically the carcass of the amplifier, and this is where all the guts are going to sit. And so this will eventually be finished in nice, beautiful upholstery, which is called Naugahyde. And so, the speaker will get mounted onto these rails, and you know, so I've been getting started on it. And so what I've wanted to do is, this is not my first amplifier that I've built, but I wanted to get my process down, and I wanted to get it more like mechanized, and like have jigs and things that are all made up, so that, you know, I don't have to go back and try to figure out all the individual processes. I have everything written out step by step, and I have it kind of figured out. And so one of the tools that I'm going to be using to make jigs, which are essentially just tools that help you complete your job more efficiently, is a CNC machine. And I talked to some of you about my CNC machine. And so a project that I've been trying to do over the past 2 weeks or so on my free time is rebuild my CNC machine. This used to you know, be well, I know this isn't, I didn't grab all the parts, but I used to have a fairly good working CNC machine, and I used to use it for various different projects. And for whatever reason, a part stopped working. Okay, it was either one of the stepper motors that wasn't working right, or these are the stepper motors, and these motors here that kind of control the movement within the CNC, or it was kind of the guts or the brains of the operation. And so what I had decided was it's time to upgrade. And so I wanted, these are smaller stepper motors. I wanted larger stepper motors from the get-go, but I didn't want to pay for it. So I thought this would be a good opportunity to kind of rebuild the CNC machine. And a long time ago, I bought a kit that would kind of upgrade or you know, kind of make the machine better. And it's, you know, sat with me for several years because I just never really wanted to get into tearing my CNC apart, because it was always relatively working fine, and I'll just, when I get to it, I get to it. And so I thought this would be a good opportunity. The CNC's not working right, and you know, let's go for it. So I took it all apart, and I replaced these motors, and this whole assembly here is all different than the way it was. And it was a lot to figure out, because guess what? It didn't come with instructions, which I don't understand why. And even more difficult, it didn't come with all the hardware that I needed to be able to put it all together, which, boy, that really sucks. And so there was a lot of stuff to figure out, like, oh, geez, well, I need a screw this size, and, you know, everything's metric, and so I have to really kind of, you know, make a table of information of all the things that I need, and go to the hardware store and try to find what they have and what they don't, and supplement it with things that they do have. And so it was a lot of, it was a challenge to try to get this thing up and running. And guess what? I got it all together. Everything was looking great, and I go to make it work, and it doesn't work. And so what didn't work about it was, if you look at this movement right here, okay, this is called y-axis movement, okay? And so this direction is the y, right? If you think about this as xy coordinates, this direction is x movement, okay? You're going along the x-axis, and z movement is up and down. So the tool goes up and down. And so everything was working but one y-axis movement. And so I've been in contact with the company for the last week and a half to try to figure out what the problem is. And they sent me another board to be able to, this controls all the stepper motors and all of that. This is like the processing units with the chips for each motor. And so they sent me another one. Well, that wasn't the problem. So now we got to troubleshoot it and go to another solution and see what is that. And so there's actually two circuit boards that go into this, to the brains of the operation. So now they're sending me the other circuit board to see if that is the problem. And so I have been working on that for more time than I want. And it really has delayed this video because I wanted to include the working CNC machine and show you how that worked. But I haven't gotten it to work. And so it's been a process and a procedure of trying to troubleshoot it and make it work. And so this is all part of the engineering design process, right? Trying to troubleshoot, trying to make things work. That's all part of it. And even though it's frustrating, it's fun because you really get to learn about all the bits and pieces and know how they contribute to the final working product. And so I should have my parts on Saturday, so I'm looking forward to getting that working. And when I get this working, then what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be cutting out some templates or some patterns that I can put on, my amplifier, and I'll put the template on there, and it'll have all the correct locations where I need to put holes and where I need to make this big cutout on the top for my lighted panel and all of that. And so yeah, so I'm really looking forward to getting going with this project and kind of making all these little tools and jigs that make your life easier. And so going back to this original idea of what are you going to do, what are you going to create, what are you going to make, the summer is the time where some of you are busy with little odds and ends and little maybe classes that you take or ACT prep or SAT prep or whatever. But it's really an opportunity for you to have a little bit of free time where you get to explore things that you really want to dive deep into. And so I really, really encourage you to use your time wisely. And I have to really tell myself that too. I'm in the same category. I get a little bit of time off, and that was one of the big perks, or one of the reasons of becoming a teacher is because I just have way too many friggin' hobbies. And I just love building stuff and creating stuff, and the reality is that all takes time. And so whenever we get breaks, like Christmas break or spring break or summer break, that's the time to really get after it. And so I know sitting on the couch and binging your favorite season of whatever is really appealing, and but I encourage you to really go after things that you want to do. If there's a kit out there that you want to build, or you want to explore a different thing that you want to learn about, go after it. And it's only limited to your imagination. And I know a lot of you say, well, geez, I don't have a workshop to do all these things in. That's fine. Yeah, I get that. But when I was your age, I didn't have a workshop either. So, but I still managed to do things. And, I was always, when I was 16 and I had my driver's license, I had my own car and all of that. And it was a crappy car, but, it needed brakes being fixed, and it needed oil changed and this and that. And, I didn't know how to do any of that stuff. But, we live in a world where you can Google everything, and, you can learn, so really the activities that you get yourself involved in, are limited by only your imagination. And so I really, really, really encourage you to get out there, build, create, design, make something, and get your hands dirty. And so I truly wish you guys the best for the summer, and I hope you guys have a wonderful, fulfilling summer with full of all sorts of activities. And when I ask you next year, say, what did you do? What did you create? What did you build? Okay, I expect you have a good answer for that. And so make sure that you're staying busy, not just physically, but also mentally. Because, when we start slowing down the brain, that's when life gets boring. So I will leave you with that. I really want to thank you all for being part of the Engineering COE. And, it was a truly wonderful year this year. And, I hope to see you back. And so please stay in touch over the summer. Seniors, you stay in touch as well. Let me know your future plans, and let me know if there's anything that I can help you out with. And so, I enjoy and cherish each one of you, and, I truly wish you the best in the future. So have a wonderful summer, and I look forward to getting back at it next year. So I hope to see you there. All right, take care.